As you move further south away from Gabon and enter an area where the Congo River starts to bleed out into the Atlantic Ocean, you start to enter a region which was heavily influenced by Atlantic relations. It played a huge and early part in influencing the makeup of the Atlantic African diaspora, a region I like to call the Bakongo Teke region. Most of this region stretched from the southern portion of what is now known as modern-day Gabon, swaths of Congo and DR Congo, facing the Atlantic Ocean, and the northern part of Angola. The Bakongo, making up the vast majority of the Atlantic-facing region, and the Bateke, populating the areas of southeastern Gabon, and areas immediately north of the capitals of Congo-Brazzaville and Congo-Kinshasa. Between 100 CE to around 1200 CE, they started to mix or displace pygmy populations and form complex societies, centered on sacred kings who had the magical power of the blacksmith. From 1200 going, these complex societies would grow into huge centralized states, with the Bavili subgroup of the Bakongo forming the Luango kingdom, the Bateke forming the Anziku kingdom, and most of the Bakongo making up the largest of them all, the Kongo kingdom. These states boasted of strong currencies, multiple markets, industries, the ability to raise large armies, and of course strong spiritual systems as seen by the Teke cross. Around 1483, the Portuguese came and established relationships with these people who they saw were open to ideas. One of those ideas was Christianity, and 9 years after the arrival of the Portuguese, the fifth Mwene Kongo, or king of the Kongo kingdom, converted to Catholicism. This new religion would bring about new forms of education and literacy, but would also become the main catalyst to the beginning of the end of the kingdom, and for, in my opinion, the constant wars we see in Congo today. Why was that so? Well, this new religion undermined polygamy, which was central to the elective process that Congo used to pick their leaders at the provincial level and central level, far different from hereditary succession in Europe. So of course this caused a conflict of values and led to divisions between those who support the new religion and those who didn't. Another thing that would also fuel the disintegration of the kingdom was the Portuguese colonization of Rwanda, their wish to influence law and order, and the Portuguese appetite for enslaved people, who were procured mostly to serve in Luanda, the colonial island of Sao Tome, areas owned by the Spanish before 1642, and of course Brazil. Foreseeing the destructive nature of the Portuguese, the Congo started to look to another partner, the Dutch, who were already intertwined with the Luango. This European power not really interested in the Atlantic slave trade at this time, but more interested in the copper and ivory reserves, leading to multiple battles between the Portuguese faction and their African allies, and the Congo unsympathetic to the Portuguese and their Dutch allies. Battles which would become constant up until 1665 at the Battle of Mbwila, where the Congo were defeated badly. This loss actually led to a huge power vacuum in the kingdom, with the Portuguese capturing many of the nobles and sending them to Brazil. Those who were left creating their own havens or staking their own claims to an already shaky throne, leading to intestine warfare and the everyday commoner falling into dependent mode. Some of these dependents were sent to coastal ports to feed the nobility's income, this time coastal ports north of the Congo River. So ports like Malembo and Cabinda, instead of solely Luanda. The combined increase in dependence, prisoners of war, and raiding of Congo-speaking areas as well as Bateke areas meant there would be endless supply for the demand of enslaved persons in the Caribbean and the Americas, who had just experienced a sugar boom. In large numbers, they went to places like the United States, particularly the Carolinas, the Bahamas, the British colony of Jamaica, Trinidad and Guyana, French holdings in Haiti, Guadeloupe and Martinique, Dutch holdings in Suriname and the ABC Islands, and of course Brazil. This phenomenon continued from 1642 to 1807, after the British, Dutch, and later French banned their trade, leading to many Bakongo and Bateke going to Cuba and Brazil from 1807 all the way to 1867. Make sure to follow and like.